Did you know that you're supposed to live 120 years? Yet most people in the U.S. die in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Welcome to Longevity with Dr. Wilcox. For the next 60 minutes, we're going to add years to your life. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Or toll free. 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-KLAV. Now, let's bring on the host. Here is Dr. Simmon Wilcox.
Good morning. We're back again. First of all, I want to thank all those who listened to us last Monday on our initial show. We had a great response. We thank all those who chose to call us in the office afterwards. I just want to follow up on some of those questions that we received after the show ended on Monday. For those of you who are listening for the first time, my name is Dr. Simmon Wilcox. I am a board-certified family physician, an emergency room physician, and we practice alternative medicine. I've been trained in stem cell, finished a one-year fellowship in stem cells. But one of the questions that was raised last week when we talked about the issue of longevity, I had defined early in the show that one has the capacity to live to be 120 years of age. At least that's how we're stamped at birth. But in America, we're averaging 81 years for females and about 74 for males. And we began to elucidate the reasons as to why. And to talk about the things that were preventing us to make it to the 120. As I indicated before, National Geographic has profiled individuals who lived to be 138, and the sons and daughters of that particular lady was 119, 120. So the capacity is there, but it happens rarely, and we are faced with a number of toxins in our life, toxins that we inhale, toxins that seep into our food supply, toxins that is purposely put into our food supply, as well as individuals who experience toxins from things like makeup that we wear every day. So this show is an attempt to educate you, to empower you, to make the right choices so you can make changes in the life of those you love, those who attend your church, those who live in your community. And one of the follow-up questions that was asked last week was the issue of liver and liver disease and liver treatment. Let me pause and say we do have Ken Baker with us today. He's going to talk to us about type 2 diabetes and some GMO foods, etc. But let me just answer that question on liver from last week. And the question was posed whether the glutathione injections that we use at our office, whether the omega-3 injections used in our office have any role in liver. The caller last week was really asking about alcohol and liver. And the response is yes, the intravenous glutathione does help the liver numbers improve with the glutathione injections. And in fact, not only with liver, those with hepatitis C, those with hepatitis A and B, as well as those who consume Tylenol. Realize your daily maximum dose for Tylenol should be 4 grams a day. Tylenol is probably one of the most sensitive items out there that's really not prescribed. You would have to take 20 extra Motrins a day to, quote, overdose on it. You would have to take 8 to 10 extra aspirins a day beyond the recommended dose to overdose on it. But for Tylenol, you can actually take just 2 extra pills a day, 2 extra strength pills a day, more than what's recommended, and get into trouble, particularly if you do that for 3 days in a row. So a lot of us out there are taking Tylenol for an assortment of reasons because we want to avoid prescription pain medicine. But there is a downside to Tylenol, and there truly exists Tylenol toxicity. As a former ER doctor, we've seen a lot of that, and we treat it there in an emergency room with something called mucimus. Mucimus actually breaks down into glutathione, which is what we offer in our office and give you intravenously for treatment of those conditions. Having said that, let me say the phone lines will be open at the bottom of the show to entertain any questions you may have. Again, the office telephone number is 702-900-2953, and we're located at 8751 Charleston Avenue here in Vegas, up in Summerlin, just behind Fleming's Restaurant. So, can I say good morning to Ken Baker?
Well, good morning, Doc.
Ken, I'm glad to have you on board. Ken and I have been associates for the better part of 3 or 4 years. And Ken, you're aware that when I was up in my spa in Utah, we would have type 2 diabetics come in. They would pay X amount of money for the experience there at the spa, at Green Valley Spa. And they would leave in 3 weeks, 80% of them, without any need for medications for their type 2 diabetes. And the reason we were able to achieve that is that we control the kitchen. We control what they were eating. Yes, we added exercise to them. Yes, we added certain herbs to them. But the biggest factor is that we control what they were consuming. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about your experience, because at one point you were a type 2 diabetic.
I was diagnosed in 97, type 2. Had a lot of problem with my feet. Went in, got a check by a doctor. He said, "You're borderline needing insulin where you are right now." He said, "I don't give people insulin." I said, he said, "If you want that, go find another doctor." But he did say, "I will teach you how to eliminate that problem." And he had a cooking class. At the time, there were over 600 people that had taken it, no longer diabetic, about 1,500 that were morbidly obese and were now slim and trim. So I said, "Sign me up." And in 30 days, I needed no medication. He monitored me for 6 months, and I used what I learned. I modified it to what I like to do, kept with the program for 2 years, treated it like a religion. And he later on checked me. He said, "You're no longer even pre-diabetic."
Well, did you lose weight? Because you're thin now, but what were you weighing then?
When I was diagnosed, I was 173 pounds. I lost 40 pounds in 6 months, and on his diet, I was never hungry.
Can you tell us a little bit about this diet?
He practiced a low fat at the time, and since I've added a lot of the good fats to the diet because it really helps you, particularly in maintaining it over a long period of time. So it's been a long time since I've been on this diet. I use true whole grains. I told him not long ago that my definition of a whole grain is if you take it, put it in the ground, water it, and it grows, it's a whole grain. Anything the government normally tells you it's a whole grain, they can remove up to 50% of the good stuff and still call it whole grain.
So help me with this. A true whole grain is what?
It consists of the seed that comes off the plant. They remove the outer covering, but it still has the fiber intact. So there's very common whole grains. Brown rice is typical. When I help coach somebody on how to get rid of their diabetes, I will start them out with brown rice. And we substitute that for the things that are processed. And their blood sugars normally starts dropping, and then I have them work with their doctor as to when they need to come off their drugs.
Now how does an individual who happens to have type 2 diabetes, now I understand there are 30 million people in this country with type 2 diabetes. There are 30 million undiagnosed individuals with type 2 diabetes. So that's a significant amount of our population who are struggling with type 2 diabetes. Most of those who have been diagnosed are on some form of medication. And what we're saying today is that you have the ability for a significant number of those individuals to be able to walk away from their oral medication if they make the right decisions in terms of what they consume, but you can't make a decision without information. So you need to be empowered with information as to how to make the choices. Help me, where does one find these whole grains? Do you find it in Smith's and Albertsons? Where do you find it?
You can find a whole grain in most grocery stores. You get brown rice, and this is the kind of brown rice you're going to cook for almost an hour. I use a steamer, a Black & Decker steamer by brand, but there's many on the market. I've had that steamer since 97 and still use it. Several times a week. I haven't been able to burn it out yet. It doesn't allow me to do that. It has a timer built in. And in 2 minutes preparation of my time, it'll steam for an hour and turn itself off and absorbs the excess water into the grains, and they are edible at that point. And that's my substitution for pastas and anything with processed flour in it.
Now we had an interesting short dialogue the other day about the way the grains were being processed or washed. Is that the right term? You tell me about that?
Well, the grains generally are the outer covering of them as they're being processed is removed. That's the fiber. That's necessary for your digestion. It's full of minerals.
So the good part has been removed.
That's one of the good parts. The other good part is the essential fatty acids, the omega-3 and omega-6 that are in the embryo part of it, the germ. And that is removed because when you break that fiber, that's going to go bad in about 4 or 5 days. It gets rancid.
So in order to create the shelf life of the products we're buying in the store, they have to remove certain items which are actually valuable to us.
Oh, yeah. That's how we're built. Our cellular structure, our membrane of our cells, all through our whole body, has that balance just about what the grains have inside of them of the omega-3 and omega-6. And these are called essential fatty acids because our bodies do not produce them. We have to consume them. And when you remove that out of the equation, then your body goes starving to try to rebuild itself as you grow.
And we recognize that because many of the diabetics who come to us who have neuropathies, we end up giving the intravenous omegas, and we see the improvement in neuropathies in a very short period of time, a testimonial to how much of a deficit they've experienced. Because people who develop type 2 diabetes don't develop it overnight. It's developed over a period of time, and is eating the wrong food for certain people, and for a lot of them, over a period of time, that you now show up with certain types of issues in one's life in terms of chronic inflammatory diseases. They wash though these whole grains with certain type of chemicals.
Oh, after they remove the starch part in the middle of the grain, that's what you get as flour, and that has the long shelf life. Now it's normally coming from wheat for the most part. It's a brownish type of texture in color, and that for some reason is not as appealing as white. People think that white is better. Okay. And that's kind of a bad misconception. But in bleaching it, and they've been doing this for a very long time, they use chlorine often in that bleaching. And the chlorine that they use will turn it white, but at the same time it can create a chemical that is a poison, and it's a poison that kills the beta cells in your, and so you have a decrease of insulin over time.
Now the beta cells are, for those who are listening, is located in your pancreas, and those cells are essential to your pancreas releasing insulin.
That's correct.
Okay, so now this particular item actually kills and delivers insult that kills the beta cells, therefore further predisposing you to developing diabetes. Very interesting. So those particular items that they're using, those chemicals are also used in rats?
Well, when they want to take a lab rat and turn it into a diabetic, they will give them that compound.
The same chemical?
Same chemical. It releases a whole lot of antioxidants within the beta cells and tends to kill them. And so now they have a rat that's diabetic, and they can experiment on it. Now, in the literature, there's some claims that doesn't happen in people, but if you remember back, they get rid of a certain sweetener years ago because the lab rats develop cancer. So it's strange that they have made that distinction.
Excellent. Let me say, we're going to have to go to a break here. For those who are listening, again, our telephone number, 900-2953. We're located at 8751. I keep wanting to give people the wrong address. 8751 Charleston Avenue in Summerlin. 8751 Charleston Avenue in Summerlin.
My name is Dr. Simmon Wilcox. I'm a board-certified physician in family medicine. As a physician, I have 20 years' experience with drug and alcohol abuse. But I bring to you a new service at my facility for drug and alcohol. We're asking you to examine your household, your family, your community, and decide if there's someone there who needs what we have to offer.
Call Dr. Simmon Wilcox at 702-900-2953. Once again, that's 702-900-2953. Are you having difficulty detoxing from drugs or medication? Let Dr. Wilcox help you. Call at 702-900-2953. His revolutionary detoxing program is designed to help you detox without the discomfort of other procedures. Call him at 702-900-2953 or visit his office in Summerlin at 8751 Charleston, Suite 210 behind Fleming Steakhouse. Call Dr. Wilcox at 702-900-2953. Just in time for the holiday season, Dr. Wilcox is offering an exclusive deal for KLAV listeners. Get a free 15-minute consultation with the purchase of a vitamin B12 injection, half price, Myers cocktail, half price, or glutathione injection. For more info, call Dr. Wilcox's office at 702-900-2953. Better act fast. This is an offer on a first-come, first-served basis to a maximum of 10 patients per day. Visit Dr. Wilcox's office in Summerlin, 8751 Charleston, Suite 210, behind Fleming Steakhouse. Don't miss out on this exclusive holiday offer. Call Dr. Wilcox's office at 702-900-2953.
Today is the first day of the rest of your life. This is Longevity with Dr. Wilcox.
We're back. As I like to say, you need to understand that it doesn't make any difference where you buy your toxins from, whether you buy it from a fast food restaurant or whether you buy it from a luxurious 5-star restaurant. A toxin is a toxin is a toxin. When you look at genetically modified foods, the same thing applies. Whether you buy it from a fast food restaurant for $5 or whether you buy it from a sexy restaurant for $50, a GMO is a GMO is a GMO. Genetically modified food is a genetically modified food. And these modified foods are lacking what we need to stay healthy. And so I really encourage individuals to begin to read the labels, to begin to become empowered with information so you can make the right choices. And you have to ask the individual who owns a particular store, even if you're at a 5-star restaurant, where does this food come from? Is it genetically modified? And if they can't answer that question, you need to rethink what you're doing. Because just because you pay high dollar for the food you consume does not mean at the end of the day it's any healthier than what you purchased at the fast food restaurant. And that's a concept that's difficult for a lot of people to absorb. We assume because we pay more that we're getting more. Well, you may be getting a sexier environment, but you may not be obtaining or buying better health. Ken, I thank you for coming today. I understand that you're going to work with us and begin to do some coaching classes.
Yeah, I'd like to do some coaching at night. In the past, I've coached individuals, and they were successful in recovering from their diabetic condition. I had them work with their doctor on how to eliminate drugs, and that's between them and their doctor, but I show them the kind of measurements they have to make, and they coordinate it with their doctor, and they've always approved that process. Unfortunately, most doctors are not schooled in how to take people off meds. They're only schooled normally to increase them over time.
Ooh.
And because I went back and took anatomy, physiology pre-med a few years back, and a lot of the textbook was how to use drugs. And I had already gotten rid of my diabetes condition, reversed it. And so I had a lot of questions for the instructor.
Well, I think in defense of my colleagues, I think one of the problems with our training is that we have, in my 4 years of medical school, I had 2 hours on diet. And when now, 27 years later, when I recognize that the majority of the diseases that I'm treating in my office is an outcome from what people are ingesting, or what people are cooking, what people are delivering to people they love. And I think about no one spent the time in the curriculum to define or explain diet. And the 2 hours of diet I received was an elective, so it wasn't even a required course. So that there's a gap in how the education is structured, particularly when one realizes that a lot of these habits, a lot of the toxins, the things that are getting absorbed, the things that are causing chronic inflammation, the things that are causing oxidative stress are directly related to food choices. And then to have the main person who's responsible for your health care not have any information about that is a very awkward situation. And so we're leaning on someone for guidance who has no information about the very thing we need to be guided about, which has to do with diet. Or we'll tell you to eat less so you can lose weight. We'll tell you to try to avoid sugars because we know it's going to aggravate the diabetes, we understand that individuals consume 120 to 160 pounds of sugar a year, and that is up by 100 pounds a year from where it used to be 10 or 12 years ago. But we really don't understand how to sit down and say, this is what you should buy, this is how you should cook it, and these are the reasons why. Anything that has a long shelf life has some type of preservative that tends to be negative for your health. Anything that has a short shelf life tends to be more natural. We like to use the word organic, but someone has to be able to empower patients as to how do you get there. That information is not going to occur by default. They're not going to wake up one morning and all of a sudden they're going to have a bright idea to understand how to go buy their foods. They need a coach. And Ken will serve as a coach for our practice. You can come to the practice. We can structure actually cooking classes, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I can show them how to do it. It's an easy process. It's things that were done hundreds of years ago in general with our foods, and we didn't have most of modern diseases. Most modern diseases are inflammatory diseases, and there's ways of reversing those. And I'm right at 74, and I take no drugs right now.
You look good for 74. I hope I can make it there. Absolutely. So again, if you give us a call at 900-2953, we can give you information about the cooking classes that will be available to empower you to know how to prepare food for your family. At the end of the day, most people need about 2 sessions to gain that information with us. Each session is about 2 hours, and that will occur in Summerlin at the Summerlin office. How to cook for your health, how to cook for better quality health, how to help train your youngsters in your house, how to select certain types of food, and to help decrease the incidence of type 2 diabetes. There is no reason we should have 30 million individuals diagnosed as type 2 diabetics and 30 million individuals undiagnosed as type 2 diabetics, but diagnosis is pending.
Yeah, just in this valley alone, I understand there's almost 200,000 people with type 2 that have been diagnosed. It's a huge number.
And as we've proven during our courses at Green Valley Spa, that we're able to send 80% of those people back home once they've gotten the right instruction, and once we take control of the kitchen, without the need to take those pills that they're taking now for the type 2 diabetics. And at the end of the day, once we train you, we still send you back to your doctor. Your doctor can continue to do what he needs to do or she needs to do to manage your health care. We just serve as the consultants who step in and say, this is how the modification needs to occur, because many of my colleagues, as well as myself, were never trained on diet during the medical school process. But if we're ever going to work it out so that you reach maximum longevity and you don't end up expiring by the time you're 80, and you don't end up at 90 with all kinds of chronic crippling diseases, the number one thing we have to do is fix the diet, fix the diet, fix the diet. That may sound simple, and at the end of the day, once you're empowered with information, it is relatively simple, but you have to detach yourself from certain things. We have become emotionally attached to the things our grandmothers fed us for Thanksgiving, the things we ate with our family during Christmas, the things that we ate during the 4th of July, and particularly when those members of our families have passed away, those memories stick with us and remember that particular dish that Grandma used to make. Now, that dish may have some toxicity to it, but we understand that because we're emotionally tied to it, we're not willing to go there in terms of that concept. Understand that our grandparents didn't have the same information, and our grandparents were able to buy food that was not genetically modified. So oftentimes the food was good then. But now, because under the premise of we need to feed the world, and they use that politically to say that's why we need to genetically modify the food so we can make more of it for more people, yet we still have hunger, yet we still haven't fed the world, and now we've gotten this increased magnitude of different chronic diseases. So that grandma's dish from 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago, when it was not genetically modified, may be genetically modified today. So you've got to take control and make decisions about how you're going to manage and micromanage the health of those who you love. We'll begin to take phone calls beginning now from anyone on any subject, whether it's a type 2 diabetes, or whether it's issues we've talked about earlier in the week relative to longevity, relative to your liver, relative to, and we talked a lot about this, the addiction dependency on things like alcohol, opiates, etc. Because there's so many questions individuals are seeking clarity on, seeking direction on. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Ken?
Just that it sounds like a hard process to go through because you have to change your mindset. It's actually fairly simple. When I recovered, within a month, I felt 20 years younger. I lost down to 133, never hungry. My wife said, "You look really sick. Put some weight on." So I learned how to increase the calories I ate every day so I'd put some weight back on. And I've added exercise to the program. It's a key ingredient. It's not necessary at first. Tell people just start walking as you can. And ride a bike if you've got bad knees. Stationary bikes are great. And so there's a lot of things to do to get you more mobile, and you feel the quality of life coming right back. And it's a small price to pay for that.
Exactly. I often share the example of a patient who presented to my office and says, "Doc, I have type 2 diabetes." And I would say to her, and this lady, I'll use the name Betty. That's not a real name. I said, "Betty, why do you think you have diabetes?" She said, "Well, I went to my other doctor last week, and he said my blood sugar was elevated." I said, "Yeah, okay. And when was the last time you had blood work?" He said, "Well, about 2 months ago I had blood work, and my blood sugar was normal." So I said, "Betty, well, how long do you think you've had diabetes?" And common sense would say, "Yeah, I've had diabetes maybe 2 months at max." I said, "Well, actually, you've had the process leading up towards diabetes or being a type 2 diabetic for approximately 6 to 7 years. The final expression of that was the elevated sugar. That showed up 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Your normal blood test from 2 months ago, your normal blood test from a year ago, your normal blood test from 3 years ago failed to show what was evolving. And what was evolving was the assault on your beta cells in your pancreas. And that was evolving because of the food selections and other toxins that we ingest into our body that then predispose you to ultimately what's considered to be the failure of the beta cells. And that failure of the beta cells then gives rise to inappropriate glucose regulation, and then what we have is type 2 diabetes. Mm-hmm. So that's why people can have type 2 diabetes diagnosed just last week, and at the time of diagnosis already have eye problems related to type 2 diabetes, kidney problems related to type 2 diabetes, because those issues had actually been evolving for 6 or 7 years prior to the final disruption in the blood work that showed the elevation in the blood sugar. Just want to clarify that because that was one of the inquiries that was made after the show on Monday in terms of why do I have all these co-occurring conditions if I only have had my type 2 diabetes for 2 months. And that's the reason why, because they've been involved for 6 or 7 years. We're getting ready to go to another station break. Again, our telephone number, 900-8953, located in Summerlin behind Fleming's Restaurant. And we'll go into a station break right now.
Just in time for the holiday season, Dr. Wilcox is offering an exclusive deal for KLAV listeners. Get a free 15-minute consultation with the purchase of a vitamin B12 injection, half price, Myers cocktail, half price, or glutathione injection. For more info, call Dr. Wilcox's office at 702-900-2953. Better act fast. This is an offer on a first-come, first-served basis to a maximum of 10 patients per day. Visit Dr. Wilcox's office in Summerlin, 8751 Charleston, Suite 210, behind Fleming's Steakhouse. Don't miss out on this exclusive holiday offer. Call Dr. Wilcox's office at 702-900-2953. Are you having difficulty detoxing from drugs or medication? Let Dr. Wilcox help you. Call at 702-900-2953. His revolutionary detoxing program is designed to help you detox without the discomfort of other procedures. Call him at 702-900-2953 or visit his office in Summerlin at 8751 Charleston, Suite 210 behind Fleming's Steakhouse. Call Dr. Wilcox at 702-900-2953.
Just about 4 years ago, I was longboarding, hit the side of a truck. This coming spring, I will have had 7 different surgeries. I'm sent home with the oxycodone and the Percocet. The dose milligram, it didn't change, but how often I would take them did. I wanted to stop. These withdrawal symptoms are something that I wish upon no one. That's where the help comes in. I went to my doctor, Dr. Wilcox. He claimed withdrawal free. It was literally a miracle. I feel, I would say 100% better.
I'm Dr. Simmon Wilcox. I've been practicing medicine for the last 23 years. My passion has been drug and alcohol dependency, particularly methamphetamine. So what I've done in my practice is I've re-engineered how we approach the detox rejuvenation process. We offer a series of intravenous treatments. You go through a process where you don't feel any symptoms. My staff's priority is to ensure you're not having that discomfort.
For more information on this miraculous treatment, call Dr. Simmon Wilcox today at 702-900-2953. Once again, that's 702-900-2953.
Longevity with Dr. Wilcox continues. Here again, your host, Dr. Simmon Wilcox.
Again, we're taking callers for any queries you may have. Let's talk a minute about vitamin D. And we've heard a lot about vitamin D. Patients all the time are telling me I'm taking vitamin D. Doc, I'm taking everything I have and including this vitamin D. And let me just share a little bit about vitamin D with you. Vitamin D by itself is not effective. Vitamin D has to be converted to vitamin D3 to be effective. To have a medical effect, you have to go from vitamin D to vitamin D3. Yes, you can obtain vitamin D in your food consumption. You can obtain it from the milk, or you can obtain it from different dairy products, but the conversion of vitamin D to vitamin D3 happens from sun exposure to the skin. And for most of us, 90% of us, unless we're lifeguards, to get the adequate amount of sun exposure, we have to be naked by noon from 12 to 2 on both sides with no tannin solution to get enough vitamin D to D3 conversion. And I can tell you, even though we live in Vegas, most people are not naked by noon from 12 to 2 and on both sides getting the appropriate vitamin D3 conversion. So we have to supplement. Most of us not drinking enough milk to even have enough vitamin D to be converted to D3, even if you chose to be disrobed between 12 and 2 to have full sun exposure. So all of us need to have vitamin D3. We all need to supplement the vitamin D3. My patients, as a rule, take around 5,000 units a day of vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is essential for many of the body's chemical reactions. It's essential for many of the transportation issues that the body requires to move nutrients into the cells, for your mitochondria, which is your body's battery, the cellular battery, to work appropriately, to move your hormones from the serum into the cells so your progesterone and testosterone can work appropriately. Vitamin D3 can be purchased without a prescription from your local health food store, from the local pharmacy, and yes, even many individuals' insurance program will cover the vitamin D3 if it's written in high enough quantities, typically 30,000 units once a week, and your insurance will cover that. Your doctor can write that for you, but it's important that individuals are on the right dose. So many people are taking stuff, meaning well, trying to do well, but it's either the wrong dosage or the wrong combination. What we try to do is coach you to the point where you have the right combinations, the right dosages, and you're not taking things you don't necessarily need. And as you grow, your needs change. So you need almost a quarterback in there, the nutritional quarterback, to help you understand when to go right, when to go left, when to delete certain items from your vitamin herbal regimen, when to add certain items to that particular regimen. So it's important. Many of you really want to do the right thing. Many of you are spending a lot of money on vitamins, but you ended up with expensive urine and not reaching health because the choices have not been made in an appropriate way. You need guidance. You need laboratory tests to identify where your deficiencies exist. And there are labs out there that can identify what are your vitamin D levels, what are your vitamin B levels, what are your vitamin C levels, what are your antioxidant levels. Most people who are shopping in a health food store, in the pharmacies, do not have any true reference point to understand what is it they really need. So what we try to do is give you that guidance, give you that direction, so you can understand what you really need, so you're not overspending in terms of buying vitamins and supplements that you're not in need of, and you're really on point. And you just don't have expensive urine, but now you really have true health. The other inquiry that came on Monday was relative to our discussion on testosterone. And the question was, if I could paraphrase it, my doctor said my testosterone level was normal. And I asked the caller, what was the testosterone level? And they said the testosterone level was 350. And I said, well, from my perspective, given the symptoms that you've given me, that level is not normal. And I try to explain to the caller, it's not that your doctor's wrong. Many of the labs have not adjusted their normal values to newer concepts. Many of the labs are still saying that if your levels are coming in at 3 or 350, this is for men on testosterone, your levels come in 3 or 350, it's okay. It doesn't require supplementation. But what we're trying to do is move you to a point of optimum health care. We're trying to move you to true quality, maximum quality of life wherever you're at. We meet you where you're at 40 years of age, at 50 years of age, or 60 years of age. We try to optimize who you are and what you can be, because all of us want to live to our max every day. And in 350 for this particular individual, given his complaints, was not going to allow him to live out at a maximum level. And so he had a level of frustration. And his doctor was actually, in defense of his doctor, was stuck because the lab was saying that value is normal. And we have the research that we can bring to the table to show to the lab and therefore to the insurance company that that number is not normal, and therefore this individual does require and does deserve to have the appropriate supplementation. And so it's a frustrating point for a number of individuals. So we're here to help you with that. We then send you back to your doctor once we've made the argument for you. We've defended that for you. We've gotten you approved through your insurance, and we move on. Because most insurances will pay for the testosterone for men. Unfortunately, most insurances have not decided whether or not they want to pay for testosterone for females, which is not fair, obviously. And hopefully in the next 3 to 4 years, that discrepancy will go away, because both the males and the females do require testosterone supplementation if the levels are low. The individuals, if you look at a 70-year-old female and her 30-year-old daughter from behind, you know who's older because the older one has lost muscle mass. Even though the females require 1/4 the amount of testosterone as men, that little amount will make the difference between a muscle loss or maintaining your muscle. Many of the females who are in the gym trying to commit to physical fitness and exercise are feeling fatigued or feeling frustrated because they feel like they're not making progress. And what's really happening is they're hitting what we call a hormonal wall. Their testosterone is too low, and they need to have the testosterone brought back to normal ranges, not bodybuilding ranges. The females are not trying to go on and compete. All they're trying to do is say, Doc, I just want to have quality of life. I need my energy back. I need my mental agility back. and I don't want to have this continual transition of my body muscle into body fat. The testosterone goes a long way, or helping females get there, but you need a test done to confirm where it's at. Once the test is done, the female testosterone is often prescribed in the form of a cream. Unlike men have injections and cream and is roll-on now under your arm. But most of all the females' testosterone is going to be in a cream format, and that tends to cost around $70 or $80 a month. It is made at most of the compounding pharmacies in town. I believe now even Walgreens will send it away to a compounding pharmacy that may be out of state, but it still allows you to come back to your local Walgreens to pick that up. So many of the females who are saying, Doc, I just don't have the energy. I almost feel depressed. I don't have the ability to keep up with my kids, and often they're mistakenly put on an antidepressant. And the answer is not Prozac. The answer for them is actually testosterone, and we need to prove that by obtaining the blood work and then giving out the medication. Now, once one starts on that, whether it's a male or female on that testosterone, that is really a lifetime replacement. You can start it and stop anytime you want to, but remember, I'm 57 now. My testosterone was in the dirt at 40, so I was put on testosterone by Synergenics here on Rampart Boulevard. The point is, if I stop my testosterone right now, my testosterone level will go back into the dirt. It will be super low the way it was 40 years ago. As I get older, it's not going to get higher on its own. I have to continue to supplement if I'm going to stay healthy, if I'm going to keep my energy, if I'm going to maintain my muscle mass, if I'm going to maintain my mental agility. Otherwise, I start to seep in to become this kind of couch potato without the energy, without the motivation. And it really undermines the quality of my life and my ability to perform. But testosterone replacement becomes a lifelong process. It's not take it for 2 weeks and you'll be better. You don't have to take it anymore. You have to continue to supplement the same way you have to continue to supplement with your vitamin D3, with your B12, with your vitamin C's. So I just wanted to clarify that issue. A number of questions came in after the show. We spent a while at the office after the show last time trying to address different questions that was coming in from the phone that we were not able to get to during the show. So I hope that answers the questions for those who have posed it relative to testosterone. We're going to get ready for another break. And this is KLAV, 1230 a.m. Again, the call-in number is 702-731-1230. If you want to call in, that's 702-731-1230. We're located in Summerlin behind Fleming's Restaurant, and our office number 900-2953. 900-2953, and we're going to go to break.
My name is Dr. Simmon Wilcox. I'm a board-certified physician in family medicine. As a physician, I have 20 years' experience with drug and alcohol abuse. But I bring to you a new service at my facility for drug and alcohol. We're asking you to examine your household, your family, your community, and decide if there's someone there who needs what we have to offer.
Call Dr. Simmon Wilcox at 702-900-2953. Once again, that's 702-900-2953. Just in time for the holiday season, Dr. Wilcox is offering an exclusive deal for KLAV listeners. Get a free 15-minute consultation with the purchase of a vitamin B12 injection, half price, Myers cocktail, half price, or glutathione injection. For more info, call Dr. Wilcox's office at 702-900-2953. Better act fast. This is an offer on a first-come, first-served basis to a maximum of 10 patients per day. Visit Dr. Wilcox's office in Summerlin, 8751 Charleston, Suite 210, behind Fleming's Steakhouse. Don't miss out on this exclusive holiday offer. Call Dr. Wilcox's office at 702-900-2953. Are you having difficulty detoxing from drugs or medication? Let Dr. Wilcox help you. Call at 702-900-2953. His revolutionary detoxing program is designed to help you detox without the discomfort of other procedures. Call him at 702-900-2953 or visit his office in Summerlin at 8751 Charleston, Suite 210 behind Fleming Steakhouse. Call Dr. Wilcox at 702-900-2953.
My name is Dr. Simmon Wilcox. I'm a board-certified physician in family medicine. As a physician, I have 20 years' experience with drug and alcohol abuse. But I bring to you a new service at my facility for drug and alcohol. We're asking you to examine your household, your family, your community, and decide if there's someone there who needs what we have to offer.
Call Dr. Simmon Wilcox at 702-900-2953. Once again, that's 702-900-2953.
You're listening to Longevity with Dr. Wilcox. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. Now, here again, your host, Dr. Wilcox.
We're back. Let me just clarify on the issue of vitamin D, and one of the questions during the break came in. The caller said, what if I'm concerned about skin cancer? How do I obtain my conversion of vitamin D to D3 when I normally wear sunscreen to prevent developing cancer? The answer to that is wear your sunscreen. No one wants to exchange adequate vitamin D levels, D3 levels, for cancer. So do what you need to do to stop the cancer and simply supplement for the vitamin D3. Most of us, the majority of us, are not consuming enough vitamin D to convert to D3 anyway. Now, having said that, it's not worth you going out now and now trying to drink 3 gallons of milk a day, lay out in the sun without sunscreen. The point is that you need to supplement for vitamin D3. And that was my main point. I wasn't trying to motivate you to go out and lay in the sun nude from 12 to 2. I simply was trying to say you need to supplement for your vitamin D3 because the only way you can get adequate amount of the vitamin D3. Additionally, let me say, vitamin D is fat soluble, so you need to take some type of fat with it to help it help the adequate absorption. And one of the things we like to use is coconut oil. Coconut oil, a teaspoon of coconut oil along with your vitamin D3 goes a long way. We actually recommend coconut oil as part of your daily event at home, to butter your bread with it, to use it in your cooking. When I make my protein shakes in the morning, I put coconut oil in it. It has a number of benefits which we'll talk about at a different time on the show, but coconut oil is what we recommend for you to take along with your vitamin D3. It will make a big difference. The children won't like the taste of the coconut oil, so you have to disguise it and put it into those drinks or put it into that bread as you go forth with the coconut oil. Also, for those who are concerned about maintaining that body mass relative to the testosterone that we spoke about a moment ago, we need to have the vitamin B12 on board. Whether your doctor gives it to you orally, sublingually, or injectable, you need to have the vitamin B12 on board to get the appropriate muscle response when you're taking your testosterone, particularly if you're over the age of 40. Again, what we do is we try to counsel you in terms of how do you put together the correct nutritional package for you, for your family. And I know many people are micromanaging the health care of their parents and grandparents who may not be in a position to make the appropriate decisions. We ask that you take this information and help adjust their health care regimen in a way that it allows them to live a more optimal, a more maximum, more quality life, whether they're living with you, whether they're living alone, whether it exists within a nursing home. But there's always something better we can do if we look at what we're doing and make the appropriate judgment calls and adjustment going forward. So again, the vitamin D to D3, you need to have something that's fat soluble when you take it. So ideally, we recommend the coconut oil, and you can buy that usually in health food stores. I actually have a gallon bucket of coconut oil that I scoop out from, which probably will last me a year and a half, if not longer. Unless I have a coconut oil party at my house, and maybe maybe people use it overnight. But basically, we need to look at that as we make the adjustments in terms of what we're doing and what we're saying going forward. There was there are two other inquiries in terms of how do you find out, how do we know what the vitamin levels are, what are the antioxidant levels. Your local labs sometimes can do that, LabCorp, Quest. We like to use Spectral Cells, a company out of Texas who has the patent on most of these tests, and you receive a 5 to 6 page report back, customized to yourself, about all your antioxidants, the amount you have, the deficits that exist, about all your vitamin levels, whether high or low, and then you're able to really make some decisions. On the issue of toxins, particularly mercury, arsenic, cadmium, nickel, there's a different test we use, which is a urine test, a 24-hour urine test, and I tell people, unfortunately, they need to keep that urine in the refrigerator for the 24 hours and mark it appropriately so it's not mistaken for apple juice. And then we send it off to a vendor up in Michigan who actually does the 24-hour analysis for the toxic metals that you may have accidentally absorbed in your body, either because you wear makeup every day for a number of years, because there's something toxic in your water that you're unaware of, because of toxicities on various items in your home that may have been absorbed over the period of years. And we're always surprised to learn what toxins individuals may have and how those toxins are ultimately causing havoc in the quality of their life day to day. These are all the things we do to try to ensure that you can make it past your 10th decade into your 110th year, and make it there with quality, make it there without being compromised, make it there without being crippled in a nursing home. It takes some time, it takes some attention, it takes commitment, and we're willing to coach you through the process. It is doable. Other people have already proven it's doable. We're simply trying to tell you that things you're doing inadvertently by not making the right choices, that's shortening the actual span of your potential life, that it can be much better if you have the information. You can make the choices. You can choose. You can choose for yourself. You can choose for those you love. You can choose for those who are depending on you. If you need us, we're at 8751 Charleston. Our telephone number is 900-2953. Located right behind Fleming's Restaurant on the second floor of the Hair and Nails building spa. And we will be there available Monday through Saturday. Our cooking classes will occur beginning next week for those who are type 2 diabetics who want to learn how to adjust their food decisions, their food selections, how to adjust the taste of the food. Because no one wants to eat food that is not inviting. No one wants to eat food that doesn't really make you feel happy and put a smile on your face. So we try to help you with that, to make the decisions, to show you how to make the adjustments so it's palatable, so it's something you like, so it's something you look forward to. You don't feel like you're being punished. Because if you feel like it's a punishment, I guarantee you're not going to eat that way for 15 to 20 years. So we try to make it fun. We try to make it interesting. We try to make it adjusted to your particular palate so that you will enjoy the food that you eat. We're coming to the end of the show. We are still open for any questions. We are running out of time. If you do not make it onto the show before we close, with your questions, you can still call us at our office, 900-2953, 900-2953. That's our telephone number up in Summerlin, behind Fleming's Restaurant. We're on the second floor. We're open Monday through Saturday. And to answer the other caller's question, we do take insurance. We do take insurance there at our office at 8751 Charleston Avenue. I'd like to thank all those who listened to us today. Thank you for being attentive. Thank you for your questions. Again, we're at KLAV, station 1230 AM, KLAV, station 1230 AM. We'll be back Monday, 10 to 11, with another show, Longevity with Dr. Wilcox. Longevity with Dr. Wilcox will be back Monday, KLAV, 1230 AM. Thank you for listening.